What's going on, y'all? Mr. Z in the building. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on your way in. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? This is a super early stream. I actually might do a part two to this. No, I really actually might. This may not be one of those go in the long pile of should be part twos, right? Okay, so hopefully y'all checked out the links. Let's do our intros again. I don't know why that felt a little weird. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. There we go. There we go. Okay, so hopefully y'all checked out the links and let's get into it. Oh, one of our favorite I guess recently advocating for divestors um is now doing the passport girlies thing, right? So, shout out to the brother O'Shea Duke Jackson for covering Real Talk with Yanni, you know, talking this passport girlies thing, I guess is what they're calling it now. Um, for those of you that remember, I actually spoke about this also maybe a week ago at this point. Okay, so where are we going with this? Now, this is going to be mainly directed at ADOS men and women as the child of Black immigrants. I'm going to say this. I want you to listen clearly. I want to say this to both Black ADOS FBA men, Black ADOS FBA women. Y'all are playing with fire when it comes to having children of immigrants in America, non-Black immigrants specifically, but even some of the Black ones, and encouraging non-Black people overseas when you do go overseas to talk crazy about your opposite sex in America. Why am I saying that? The clip that O'Shea played, and yes, I heard the whole Yanni show of the Dominican woman speaking about how Black men are seen as licks by um, by women overseas, well, Dominican women specifically. Yanni doesn't know the fire that she's playing with when it comes to speaking to Dominicans about race. All she can see is getting back at Black men. She doesn't understand how she's playing with fire with this race talk, with Dominicans specifically, but any woman of Latin American descent. I'm saying this as a man of Haitian descent. Why am I going there, right? If you don't understand who Trujillo is, you don't understand the term Mejora La Raza, you don't understand why she's speaking about these white guys and yachts, which I'm going to touch on in a minute. You don't understand her saying or implying or suggesting pretty much that Black American men are sexually undisciplined, unlike the white guys. You don't get it. Real Talk with Yanni and other Black American women, and yes, some Black American men, playing with fire, allowing the gender conflict in the Black American society to go global is very, very, very dangerous because you don't know which group of people inherently are anti-Black anyway. And now you're allowing them to get their anti-Black racist talking points off under the guise of being your ally, under the guise of, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, you're right. Black American men are crap. Yeah, I see that sexist stuff they're pulling. How long before they start telling you about yourself? Shout out to Cardi B. How long before they start calling you a little roach, Yanni? You playing with fire. You let that young lady get on and pretty much, and even the South African sister that called in later, you letting these people get on and worship white men on your show, playing with fire, right? And shout out to Joe's. Thank you for the super sticker, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much, right? You playing with fire, right? And a lot of these Black women that don't know anything about world history, you're gonna start finding yourself aligned, so you think, with different women around the country, around the world, talking crap about Black men, and they harbor some of the worst ideas about you. You're not exempt from the negative stereotypes they think about Black people in general. and you don't understand the context of their anti-blackness. Real Talk with Yenny literally had the South African sister. She literally had Black American women. She literally had the Dominican woman call in and talk crazy, and she didn't understand what she was playing with. Now let's address the Dominican woman. I think her name was Magic something, speaking about white men on yachts. Now we already know most Americans don't have a passport. How many tiers up from average do you have to be a white man from Europe or a white man from America pulling up on a yacht and talking about business in front of Dominican women? Like, yeah, I get it, Yanni. I get it. You just want to get back at black men, these sexist, misogynistic black men who's talking crap about black American women. Right? I get it. I get it. And I understand all the black American ADOS FBA women who are speaking this way. I understand. I get it. But you're playing with fire because look at how these women think about you here. You think they think about you better overseas? Look at how they treat their own black populations in Latin American countries. You think they think better of you because you're American? Which will tie me over to the video of Sham interviewing whoever that sister was, who said what she said, and at the end of the clip, she said something like, "Black women go to Europe." Of course, you got to go to Europe. The only countries, there's about maybe 20 or so, at most 30 countries out of 200 and some odd countries on planet Earth that might have the standards of finances that black women are looking for. Maybe 30 at most if we're being generous. You got to go to Europe. And need I remind you where white supremacy came from and that they're still white supremacists? Go ask the Africans that were in Ukraine. Go ask the Africans that were in Ukraine that thought everything was nice and lovely until it was time to leave. Y'all playing with fire. And this goes to like what we're saying, like y'all play, notice what, see, you can see who know what they talking about, even if you disagree with them, even if they full of crap, and who don't know. You see what Kim from Fort Harriet did, right? She ain't tell black women to go nowhere. She know better because she used to go to Harvard. She already know what them white guys are on. I'm not saying it might not change. I'm not saying that we might click on her video tomorrow and she telling black women to leave. I'm saying she knows better. If you see her change her tune now, it's for the money and the PR, but she knows better. Real Talk with Yanni, on the other hand, maybe not so much. This whole telling black, first of all, even in Real Talk with Yanni's own comment section for the little video clip with Sham is black women saying this passport girlies thing sounds cringy. A lot of them are saying that. A lot of them are being honest. It sounds cringy. It sounds desperate. Ladies, that's because it is, number one. Number two, others of them are saying, being honest and saying, hey, we've been traveling since before how Stella got her groove back. And Real Talk with Yanni admits that the title is clickbait. She admits it. She admits it, right? But I want to be very clear. We are now in full-on internal anti-blackness mode. Because at the end, once again, at the end of that video, when the young lady said, black women go to Europe, or wherever, however she said it, yeah, because that's pretty much the only place with the type of money that you're looking for. But you forgot the type of men that hold that money. Have fun. I said it. Y'all thought I was joking. Black American women, you only really got Black American men. The other men around the world that would have you usually are too poor. They can't afford you the lifestyle you want. And the men that can afford you the lifestyle you want are too damn anti-black and racist. But have fun. What, Italy got money now? It wasn't Italy struggling financially last time I checked? So the Italian men got money now. Go ahead and go travel to Italy. All you're gonna have is Mediterranean white penis, and you're gonna be sent back home leaking something. That's it. Last time I checked, Italian men are staying at home until what their mid 30s. Y'all playing with y'all. How do you? Once again, the ignorance is what's gonna hurt you. The ignorance. Greece is struggling financially right now. Y'all going to Greece? Ugh, where y'all going? To Britain with the fallout of of Brexit? Where you going? Germany? Pfft, yeah, that's it. Where are you going? France? Where black women in their beauty and their skin tone is appreciated. Where are you going? To Latin America with their colorist asses? Notice the area of the planet I skipped, the Middle East. Y'all already know you can't go there. That's a no-go. Once again, we spoke about the slave trade across the Middle East that predates the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade by some millennia. Where are you going, black women? See, the difference is, and somebody said this in her comments, you see, we're not going to impoverished countries. Yeah, that means black men can live, black men that can afford passports and can afford to travel on that level can go anywhere. That's the difference. They can touch every 200 in some odd countries. I think it's 200, just about countries on the planet. Black women are relegated to about 30 because of the lifestyle and the type of man and his finances that you want. You're relegated to about 30 countries. Now, that doesn't mean that people outside of Europe or outside of certain East Asian countries don't have money. We understand that there are Latin Americans that have money and whatever, but you, once again, as a percentage of their nation, not really. And so, and let's be honest, you're going to probably end up with an extra average, a person that in America would be just considered extra average, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year guy. Not the opulent lifestyle you're looking for. So black men got to be ballers, but the Italian version of Dexter St. Jock, he can be extra average. He can be extra $55,000 a year, man. Okay, ladies. Okay, it's not smart. Y'all playing with fire. To see Real Talk with Yanni, let that girl get her digs in. You hear her saying ADOS men essentially. She's talking about black people. Black men lack you let her get off black men lack sexual discipline. Or they're not they don't something like that she said. It was something along those lines, right? Those weren't the exact words, but something along those lines. You let her get that off because y'all don't really understand. Something I've noticed with the vast majority of black people in America, you really don't know other people outside of the black community. Yeah, you might rub elbows with them a little bit at work, but you really don't know other groups of people. You really don't know when they're insulting you. You really don't know, understand how much white worship goes on in their communities. You don't understand what they're implying and suggesting when they say certain things, right? This young lady, first of all, she's talking a bunch of crap. White guys are not pulling up in yachts in Dominican Republic in any significant number. That's not even how that works, right? That's not even how that works. But she said it. And first, you see black American men as a lick. You don't see them white boys as a lick. You don't see the white Americans, the white Europeans as a lick. You see them as a lick too. You just worship at the altar of white penis. Mejor la raza. In Real Talk with Yenny, let that girl get that off. She let that young lady get that off. You not realizing who you talking to, Yanni. If once again, if you don't know who Trujillo is, you don't understand Dominican history, you don't understand race in Dominican Republic, the racial hierarchy in Dominican Republic, and how stringent it is, and colorism. Y'all want to talk about colorism, and You want to talk about colorism, and yet you're on the phone, you're online, letting a Dominican woman go off on Black American men, right? It's just, it's naive, it's dangerous. First of all, we're not even speaking about ADOS FBA men. Fine, go salt the earth, right? Because that's really what this is. It's, oh, you think you gonna quit me? You think you just gonna leave, right? Oh no, I'm gonna salt the earth. I'm gonna make sure you can grow crops anywhere. Black man, Black American man, Black Americanized man. Oh, you think you're gonna be able to go somewhere overseas and establish whatever type of relationship or marriage that you want for cheaper than what I'm offering? Oh no, I'm not letting that happen. Not on my watch. Shout out to Kim from Fort Harriet and now Real Talk with Yanni. Once again, you got the academically accomplished woman, then you got the, more normal woman. Both pretty much saying the same thing. Oh, you think you just gotta leave? And let me be very clear. And this is something that I was attempting to say to the brother FD Signifier um, a couple days ago when I spoke to him. Are we really going to allow for Black American women to get off with doing and saying some of the most outrageous things, but just because they worded a particular way, it's fine? What does Mr. Z mean by that? These particular women, they're speaking about how gracious they're being, how, look, we're not bashing Black men, once again, the lying by omission type of thing, right? So I just won't say your name, but I'll be talking about you. So, which is what the young lady engaged in. I wasn't made to, we're talking about the interview with Sham. I wasn't made to feel beautiful. She did the whole I wasn't made to feel beautiful. Didn't we just speak about what's the Indian lady name the other day in that same type of comment? This is, women of color do this all the time. I wasn't made to feel beautiful, so now it's time for me to go find a white man, right? I wasn't made to feel beautiful, so now women of color do this all the time. It's not I wasn't made to feel beautiful, so let me go find another person of color. Oh no, it's I wasn't made to feel beautiful in a white supremacist society, a white supremacist, white dominated planet. So let me go find that same white man to validate my beauty. Remember at the end what she said, excuse me, Black women go to Europe. So Black women in America are saying Black American men don't value my beauty. Clearly, other men of color in America don't value your beauty either, because you would have been with another man in America, a white dude, a Latino dude, a East Asian, South Asian guy, right? An indigenous guy. That's who you would have been with. So what you're saying is American men don't value my beauty. Let me go somewhere else, Europe, where I think my beauty will be appreciated. And because you think you're wording it differently than the Black men, that makes you better. You're literally saying the same thing and you think you're better. Actually, you're being a little bit worse because you claim you're looking for love when you're looking for a lifestyle from a European white dude. You think what you're saying is better, right? And excuse my language, everybody. Gotta read this one though, right? And shout out to Oliver the Gray for the super chat. And Oliver the Gray says, it's called self-esteem. It's esteem of your motherfucking self, right? And shout out to Cat Williams, the Cat Williams joke, right? And exactly. So these people are, so they're saying Black Americans didn't appreciate my beauty, right? Black people, and so much in Yanni's comments, and I keep on saying this. I bring this up sometimes when I speak about Khadijah. I bring this up sometimes when I speak about Kim from Fort Harriet, right? Now we got to put Yanni's comment section on the list because how many women in her comments And it was about two or three that I read that just admitted they just resigned themselves to being single. I'm not going to let anybody disturb my peace, right? They're resigning themselves to being single. And there's nothing wrong with being single. If you're happy being single, if you're happy being a bachelor or bachelorette, nothing wrong with that. But most of you aren't. What you're really saying is, I'm not changing me. There's nothing wrong with me, even though I'm an a-hole and mean, and maybe I need to work on my weight, right? And maybe I need to work on the way I speak to people, but I'm not going to work on any of that. So I'm just going to resign myself to being single. See, there's a whole lot to be said there. Many of you are resigning yourself to being single because you're admitting you're difficult to be around. That's the other part. And it's not even like you're difficult to be around and then it's rewarding on the other side of it. No, you're just difficult to be around and there is no reward for being around you. And you're difficult ass. Right? And so now some of you are like, oh, well, we could do what the men could do. First of all, you've been doing it. That's the whole point. And thank you to the ladies in the comments saying, yeah, we've been out here. We've been taking trips. One of the young ladies in Real Talk with Yanni's um, comments said she remember listening to her aunt speak about it in the kitchen when she was a kid. There you go. Speaking about traveling, and let's be honest, getting their backs blown out by foreign white guys. What happened to all that loyalty talk, ladies? Boy, to get at black men, they will bend themselves into a pretzel with contradictions. Remember, just yesterday they were more loyal than black men. Now they're admitting that their parents and grandparents been talking about traveling overseas and having some bedroom fun for the longest. I guess they're saying, well, we'll just tell the truth now, right? Ain't no point in lying anymore. The black men don't believe us. Nobody believes us anymore. So we can just be honest that we've been traveling, been having interracial sexual fun with non-black dudes, coming back home and talking about loyalty when we're 50 and 60 something, not married, no children, or maybe with children, but now we have this big house by ourselves. Right? At least now they're admitting it, that this is what their mothers and grandmothers were on. By the way, ladies, we already knew. You're not telling us anything we didn't know. We already knew you were lying. We already seen the birth out of wedlock rate for black women in America when it comes to who the baby's father is. We know how many of y'all are having children with these white guys and Latino guys. Oh, here's a secret. Y'all are having more children with the white guys and the Latino guys out of wedlock than black men are. Oops. Mm-hmm. You thought we ain't know. We knew. We saw Hector sliding through the hood to come see you. We already knew. We saw Bob sliding through the hood to come and see you. We already knew. Right? Ladies, we already knew. We already knew what you were doing when you went overseas. That's why y'all see that video going around of DJ Envy speaking about his wife going on a 20-day trip overseas, and everybody has clips of people laughing and making fun. Right? Do we know that she's gonna do something overseas? We don't know. But the thought, right? Because we know that black women have been doing it. You're not saying anything new. And that's always been my point. I've said it. It ain't loyalty, it's a lack of options. And shout out to Big Kev for the super chat. Exactly, Big Kev. Exactly. It's not loyalty, it's a lack of options. And I don't say that in any type of glee. This is an anti-black white supremacist society. And let me say this again to ADOS and FBA. Y'all seriously underestimate the fact that there hasn't been civil rights movements around the planet outside of America, maybe a couple of Latin American countries and a couple of European countries, mainly Britain, right? You really underestimate how much white worship there is around planet Earth. You really don't get it. Unlike the Black American community, and this is, this is a little personal. The reason why Mr. Z has connected with ADOS FBA so much is because of my background, being Haitian descent, coming from a family that did not look at white people like any type of liberators or they're the best thing on the planet ever, right? And didn't aspire to be white. We don't really have colorists in my family, and as relatives, we have a few, but you know. And so I connected with ADOS FBA because of that revolutionary spirit, right? Because of how critical they were of white power and just everything white is normal and white hegemony. Other people around the world do not have that. And I think it is woefully underappreciated, the different lane that ADOS specifically. Yes, you have Jamaican allies and Haitian allies and some Nigerian allies and different other black people around the diaspora as allies when it comes to this. But once you get out of the black diaspora, oh, all of that critiquing of white power falls flat because other people just don't got it. They don't got the language, they don't have the concepts, they don't got it. It's mainly Black Americans and a couple of allies from different parts of the Black diaspora. And that after that, especially when you get outside of the American context, so maybe some Latinos that have been Americanized, and maybe some Asians that have been Americanized, East and South Asians, but outside, you don't have people that really have a critical lens when it comes to white power, white normalcy, white hegemony. They don't have it. So when you engage with these people and you encourage them to talk crap about the opposite sex and the black race, you don't really understand what's fueling that language. You don't get it. You don't get the anti-blackness. You don't understand. Particularly coming from the Latino community. You don't get it. And Yanni, with her infinite ignorance, just let the Dominican, because she think it doesn't apply to her. You think if you start arguing that Dominican girl long enough, she's not going to start spewing out anti-black rhetoric? Y'all forgot what Amara La Negra told y'all about the Latino community? The ignorance is astounding. Y'all play, listen, ADOS men and women, FBA men and women, particularly the women, y'all are playing with fire when it comes to this. Go take your little passport, go to Europe, or go to the excuse me, not the Middle East. Don't go there. Don't go there. Go to Europe, go to the Caribbean, get your little back blown out, and stop being loud. Yeah, the men are being loud. Don't police us. Don't tell us to be loud. The difference is the men can go to 200 and some odd countries, 200 countries. Let's not pretend you don't care if the men come back in a body bag. If they step out of line in these countries, you don't care. So we can stop pretending. You, on the other hand, with your naive ass, these men in other countries will assault you, let's say, extrally assault you. You will come back in a body bag with something leaking out of you. They do not care about your gender war against black men. And all that talk about misogyny and patriarchy and male power and male, you You really don't understand what's going on planet Earth. Take your ass to Western Europe, do what you got to do, and stop being loud. Notice I said Western Europe. You got Western Europe and a couple of countries in Asia, and that's about it. And I think the smartest of Black women and the more knowledgeable of them and the ones that have already traveled already know that. But all the rest of them they're just gonna keep on playing up some of this. They think it's fine and dandy. First, like I said, I've said this to you guys before. Me and my lady have had conversations about other countries around the world that have similar concepts to America when it comes to human rights and civil rights, right? LGBTQ rights and all this other stuff. And we pretty much sit at most maybe 2 dozen if you're being extra generous, if you're being extra generous, 30 countries, if you're being generous. Everywhere else is a no man's land. Not for Americans. And I'm not attempting to be like an American or chauvinist or anything like that, right? I'm not attempting to be, well, it wouldn't be xenophobic, but like an American chauvinist or like a Western concept chauvinist. That's not the goal here, particularly not from me, Mr. Z, Mr. Black in Effect, right? But if we're gonna be honest, Black women playing with fire with this. Yes, real talk with Yanni, you playing with fire with this. I say this to you all the time. Remember how you felt with Asia Maynard, or was that Lauren Smith Fields, whichever one? Remember how you felt. You're doing it again. All this, I need to get back at Black men. I need to show we travel too. I need to show that we do it too. All right. Y'all gonna throw Austin Hollerman in our face? How would have Austin Hollerman turned out if he would have been a woman? You think the Brazilian guys are sweet? y'all playing with fire, bro. Y'all are playing with fire. And as I said, you let this young lady come on and BS you about white guys talking business to Dominican women. You think them white guys come off the boat, come off the plane hard as hell, and all they want to do is pipe something. They're not talking to no Latina they think is a dummy about no business. And I'm not saying they're dummies. I'm saying Latinas they think are dummies about business. They're not talking business around them Latinas. Are you crazy? And you let that young lady get that off. You think, okay, okay, granted, okay, let's say the white guy does have a yacht. You think a millionaire, because if you have a yacht, even the smallest of them, you're probably a millionaire. Okay, you think millionaire white guys are traveling to the Dominican Republic, so they're getting on their boat, traveling to the Dominican Republic for some tourism. They're getting off their boat, they're taking these women out, and they're talking about business in front of these women, or definitely to these women. Yeah, that's it. White men millionaires with yachts are speaking about business in the presence of, and definitely to, Latina women in Dominican Republic. And you let her say that, and you took that. Dear ADOS men, there's nothing to fear here. There's nothing. It's just black. It's just ADOS women just spewing their nonsense. Because yes, they've been traveling, and yes, they've been doing the whole Terry McMillan, how Stella got her groove back thing. Yeah, and you see how that turned out for her. Because the particular type, once again, last when I checked out that interview with Sham and the young lady, I didn't see no ring on her finger. So y'all talking about going to Europe, like I said, to get your back blown out by some white European dudes, and then come back to America talking about how loyal you are to black men and how black men don't build. You should have built with the white dude overseas. My beauty is so appreciated by European men. You mean the same European men that raped, pillaged, conquered around the planet and made a whole bunch of mixed race babies that they didn't take care of? And they're still doing that, by the way? You mean those white dudes? I'm not talking about just colonization. I'm saying they're still doing that. Like right now. Nobody on planet Earth has more mixed children than white guys. More illegitimate children on planet Earth. We're not talking about America, on planet Earth than white guys. And those are the men you claim appreciate your beauty. While they go to Africa, do what they do with these women, and then dip off. While they go to Asia and do what they want to do with these women and then dip off. While they go to Latin America and do what they want to do with these women and then dip off. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep on saying women. Why they go and do what they want to do with the people? Because if you think them white guys ain't having sex with men and children, then you got another thing coming. Pun intended. These ladies really don't know what y'all taking this gender conflict with black men international, and you don't know what's going on planet Earth. You barely know what's going on in your same city, and you trying to get at black men, passport bros, for going international and trying to either have actual fun, who y'all are admitting y'all ancestors were doing that too. Black women were doing that too. So you're admitting that. And you're trying to get at black men by allying with some of the shadiest characters in black history. What, ally with some Dominican woman who's telling you about how black Americans are seen as licks, and how once again, I'm paraphrasing, they lack the sexual discipline. That's what you think is smart? All right. And so this is somewhat of my answer to O'Shea Duke Jackson. I know the brother has traveled. He's been to Africa. He's been in Europe. I understand. Brother, real talk with Yanni and that woman that called in, whatever her name, Black Magic or whatever, Magic Black, whatever her name was, they don't know what they're talking about. As a child of immigrants who's been out of the country, they do not understand what they're talking about. They're being very, very dangerous with their language, actually. And what they're doing is going to hurt black women more than it hurts black men. What they're advocating for, because they just don't know. They don't care to know. They just want to get back at black men. They don't care to know, and they don't know. These other men out around planet Earth, poor or not, they don't deal with like insubordination from women. They just don't. That's why these women at the end of it go to Europe. Exactly. That's where you better go. You find yourself in the wrong part of Latin America and see what happened with all that sass. Go to the wrong part of Latin America and see what happened. Y'all playing with fire. Y'all don't know what y'all. You know what? Outside of certain areas of Mexico, areas of Mexico, Mexico ain't playing around. Other Latin American countries ain't playing around. You step out of line, you will get offed, okay? I have my reservations about a particular civil rights leader's grandson and how he passed. But if you read into that story, and if you actually believe it, which I don't, they're not playing around. They don't play around in these other places. They don't. And so this is me answering O'Shea by saying, Don't listen to real talk. Look at you. Yanni is just getting off. She's making her money by letting these women go on and on, pretty much getting back at black men. They feel like black men are making fun of them when they go overseas, talking crap about them when they go overseas, right? So they're attempting to do the same thing, and actually worse, they're attempting to salt the earth. They're attempting to get other non-black women as allies so that black men are pretty much relegated to black American women without actually black American women saying, you know, we I told you, you told us nothing. Right. Y'all playing around with fire. And so I'll I'm not gonna belabor it too much today, but I actually with this one, I actually want black American women to be careful. I really mean it. I actually want them to be careful. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be condescending. I I don't think they really know what they're dealing with, and that's why I've highlighted Indigo Flow's comment. Let me read it for y'all. They don't know the first thing about femicide. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't. I'm reminded of the two sisters from here who got into a back and forth. I can't remember what African country it was. They got into a back and forth with the locals over some land, and they were found, well, unalived. Y'all don't know what y'all doing, and y'all, all right. Like I said, take your ass to Europe, take your ass to the Caribbean, go deal with Dexter St. Jacques or the Italian equivalent of him. And like the other ladies in Yanni's comments said, move in silence. And you're not moving in silence so that you don't embarrass yourself. You're moving in silence so you don't get offed by these other non-black men who just see you as a lick. What the Dominican woman said, oh, we see them as a lick. Yeah, when they talk about how great I am, I send them to Dominican. I send them to my country, right? You know how many, especially when you get outside of Western Europe. Y'all remember what happened to the brother? He tried what? He tried to defend a white girl or whatever, and them dudes stomped him to death a few years ago. Those white guys stomped him to death, and I don't think any of them did. They even serve any time for that? Did they even get arrested for that? They might have. It's just not smart. These ladies don't understand what they're playing with. Both black men and black women, y'all take this gender back and forth out overseas, and the gloves are off because these other people ain't playing. The women will set the men up, and the men will just unalive the women. Just let the passport bros go and do what they're gonna do. And if they find themselves in unfortunate positions, so be it. But you ladies attempting to salt the earth and find allies with other anti-black, non-black women, or you attempting to mirror the same thing and going overseas and talking crap about black American men while you prey on some unexpected non-black man, you all right. It's gonna be interesting watching Black America. Look at the sister, the black woman that told you her story of the Dominican guy that she married naively, played her ass from the jump. He could smell the desperation, and that young lady was not unattractive. She was not ugly. She just had a low ass self esteem, and she was young and naive and dumb. Young, naive, dumb, and inferiority complex. And that Dominican guy smelled it on her, played her for a couple of years, got her pregnant, just played her, just played her. And now she got a kid from the dude. But you think those guys over, oh, I get it. We think those women overseas are dumb, but in reality, you think those men overseas are dumb. You think they can't smell the desperation on you. You think they don't have a-hole women overseas? They got a-hole women overseas. Those men could smell you being an a-hole. The gay dude that Terry McMillan was in a relationship with, you think he didn't smell what she was? If he could smell what she was 30 years ago, you think these guys now can't smell who you are with the internet and TV? And yes, we had TV 30 years ago. Mr. Z is not being dumb. But what I'm saying is, you think those guys overseas don't know who you are, black women? They see the videos of you fighting in the middle of Walmart too. They see the videos of you being condescending to black men also. They know who you are. They know why you're going overseas for ex tourism. You claiming, no, I'm going overseas for my career. I'm going overseas to live my best life. I'm going overseas to travel. No, you're going overseas to have sex with the type of men you couldn't have sex with here, or you would have felt dirty having sex with them because you think that they having sex with you got a pity, and they probably are, but you think them guys overseas ain't. The chisel chin Italian white dude, you think he's not? It's black people need to stop insulting the intelligence of other black people. We live in the same, I said it before, we live in the same houses. We were raised by the same single mom. We attend the same churches. We listen to much of the same music. With the internet, we don't consume exactly the same type of media anymore, but much of it still. And yet somehow magically we think the other sex doesn't know who we are, doesn't know why we're doing the things we do. Translation. And even in the comments, black women were saying how horrible their poker face is. Of course, because almost everything y'all do is to get at or get back at black men. And everybody who's been in contact with black women like ever knows it. Personal story. Mr. Z was at work one day. I was working with a young white woman. We were talking about sex, relationships, all that other stuff. No, I'm not interested, nor was I interested. And out of nowhere, she came left field. Yeah, I heard black women are jealous of black men when they date out. And you know what I had to throw in her face? You know, black people pretty much marry intra-racially more than like everybody else in America, right? Contrary to popular belief. I had to throw that in her face. That was me protecting the image of black women. How often do you see black women do that? And still to this day, rest in peace, Kevin. Y'all saw every time one of those non-black women tried to pull one of them shady ass stunts and insult black women, he let them know, oh no, this is an internal affair. All that hate y'all had for Kevin, unlike Real Talk with Yanni, Kevin made sure these non-black women could not insult black women. Real Talk with Yanni is encouraging it. And I'm not saying that that Dominican woman, we don't know if she was black or not, but still. It's just it's you know, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. A bunch of naive people talking about, you know, international stuff they know nothing about. You don't know what's going on planet Earth right now. You don't know what's going on planet Earth right now. You think America's hurting financially right now? You know how many other countries are reeling from some of the backlash of COVID, where COVID-19 left their economy? Some countries are still reeling from the housing recession of '08. Y'all don't know what's going on planet Earth, nor do y'all care to know. But I want to get back at black men. Okay, Italy. You mean the country? Didn't Italy just elect that kind of weary or that kind of weird white woman? Am I mistaken? Wasn't Italy the country that just elected, or was that Greece? I think it was Italy that elected their own version of Marie Le Pen. And that's where y'all want to go to find some little bedroom fun and some men that tickle your ego. That's where you want to go right now. And somebody look that up for me if because I want to correct it if I'm wrong. Whether it was Italy or Greece that elected what is her name, a woman as either president or prime minister of their country currently. Right. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. But if you don't know these things, well, and I agree with many of you in the comments that said this is gonna, blow up in their faces. That ignorance is bliss thing, it's not smart. And the young lady that dealt with what she dealt with the Dominican guy, though she has a whole series of videos on YouTube speaking about her horrible experience with this guy. Her story should be a warning. But black women don't, they're not gonna hear that. They're not gonna hear that, right? And so deal with the consequences, right? In Bitter Truth Show says, I think one of those female leaders was deleted or disposed of. Mm? Y'all remember Benazir Bhutto? I'm just saying, y'all don't like y'all think black men in America are misogynist. As the brother Indigo Flow said, y'all ain't seen femicide yet. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't, ladies, y'all are, when Mr. Z says y'all playing with fire, it's not a scare tactic, right? Because every time you tell them something real and it sounds depressing to them, they think you're trying to scare them. No, I'm telling you how real it is outside of the West. And I'm not doing that once again because I'm a Western chauvinist. If you know history, yeah, you know how white men got to the position they are in now. But I think one of the most naive things that people of color engage in is thinking that white society is still not about that life, right? Or thinking that people outside of the West are dumb and naive just because they don't speak English, French, Spanish, or German, or any one of those languages. Thinking they're naive, they do speak one of those languages, but they're not in one of those countries. Thinking people are dumb because they don't speak English, or thinking people are naive because they don't speak English, or because they live in a developing country, or a underdeveloped country. You will get yourself hurt out here. And Indigo Flow says, we couldn't love them more. It's pretty laughable how misogynist they try to portray us as. They got it good, LOL. Exactly. Right. And they don't understand how good they have it because they're only seeing things through a white woman's glasses, through a white woman's lens. Yes, I'm saying Mr. Z is saying that black women are looking at this thing from a white woman's lens. And so they don't really understand. When they say femicide, they don't understand what's going on planet Earth. That's the only reason they could say what they say like that. That's the only real reason why Paris Milan could talk that femicide talk. All these black men, they're kidnapping these women. She could only because she doesn't really she's definitely not looking at this from a global she's not even looking at it from from an American historical context, let alone a global context. All she's looking at is black men ain't ish. They're hurting us. They're talking crap about us. They don't make enough money to provide us the lifestyle we want. And that's what it really comes down to, let's be honest. That's another reason why those women said go to Europe. Like I said, you got about maybe 30 countries where you can where the men aren't even, it's not even comparable the percentage of men that are wealthy to the population. It's not. But about 30 countries can you play that lottery game of like, okay, is this guy a baller or not? About 30, maybe 2 dozen. And once you get out of that 30 countries, you really see the difference between the 1% and everybody else. Shout out to everyone trying to talk about women, particularly black women, like they're really morally superior to black men. Essentially, they're looking for the exploiters of other societies, other countries to do for them. You want to be married to or be in a relationship with the corrupt leader's son. You want to be with the corrupt business owner that's buying all the politicians in his local country. You want to be with his son, with his nephew, with his grandson, right? These same women that turn around and speak about morality, right? And so Bitter Truth says, no preferential treatment or protected class. On the contrary, in other societies, everybody know who the permanent underclass is and who the protected class is. On the contrary, but I know what you're trying to say, Bitter Truth, but on the it's so blatant in other countries. It's America that gives you the veneer of equality when we all know, because we're black, who the underclass is in America and who the untouchable is in America. But in other countries, oh no, they don't even give you the veneer. We all, in other countries, everybody know the region of the country where the rich people live. Everybody know I remember having this conversation with an Argentinian cat, white, not, listen to me, Mr. Z, not mestizo, because a lot of y'all see mestizo Latinos and y'all think they white. No, not mestizo, a white Latino, darker black hair, green eye, white Latino cat that I worked with, Argentinian descent. And he even spoke about the color hierarchy and that even he would be beat out for a job by the blonde, blue hair white dude. And he's white. Once again, not mestizo, but white. Right? Everybody knows the hierarchy in other countries because it's so blatant. And anybody that from other countries that tell you there's not, they're probably lying. They all know what area of the country got the rich people, what city got the rich people. They know what the last names are that of the uber wealthy people in their country that have been running things for 4, 5, 6 centuries, maybe a millennium. They know. Oh, that's such and such great grandson. They know. Everybody know. It's like being a Marley in Jamaica, right? Everybody knows. So, you know, I just wanted to make this as a response to O'Shea Duke Jackson and real talk with Yanni. Look, Yanni, you playing with fire. I get it. Content, you want to keep your money going. You're going to give these girls rage porn and encouragement porn at the same time. Content, cool. Nothing wrong with that. But you playing with fire with this one. And if you think You felt bad. Was it Lawrence Smithfield or Asia Maynard? I keep on forgetting which one, but you think you felt a little guilty with that? Hmm. Okay. It was a story what happened with Lawrence Smithfield. It was a story what happened with Asia Maynard. You be lucky if some of this stuff even make the local news in those countries if something happens to one of these sisters, because the anti-blackness overseas is just off the chain. And if something happens to a black woman outside of Western Europe, it won't even register. If something happened to a black woman in Latin America, it won't even register. If it happened, I'm not even going to mention the Middle East. That's a non-starter. And even being an American with the passport, you you'll be lucky. You may make the local news in those countries. Look at the story that I mentioned of the two black American women that got deleted in one of the countries in Africa. How many of y'all even know that story that I'm talking about? And that was in Africa. You imagine if they were in the Middle East? Would I even know? You imagine if they were in Eastern Europe? Would I even know? I'm telling. Thank you, Bitter Truth. They can Frank Lucas murk someone on camera, leave the gun on the scene. It'll be handled as an unsolved street crime. Y'all really look. As much as we speak about American corruption, and it's real, you'll be damned if the local mob boss isn't chipping off um, one of the local politicians or going all the way up. And his son is dealing with you, and his son is not happy with you, and something happens, right? This is not Bad Boys 2, where what's her Gabrielle Union is dealing with the Cuban, drug lord. This is not Bad Boys 2, bro. This is real life. In real life, he would have murked her, and that would have been the end of that. And then the US government just was gonna have to figure it out on how they was gonna try to get him or whatever. In real life, there would have been no putting her on the boat, holding her as hostage. There would have been none of that in real life. Go ask the British. Y'all know the story of the British. What was she? Some type of secret agent. She was doing some investigation on like on Trinidad, like kind of what was a social movement or something like that. And one of the guys was Trinidadian. She went to go visit. They found her in a hole in Trinidad. Offed. Y'all playing with fire, and that was in the 70s, the 70s or the 80s. I want to say the 70s. You mess around with the wrong people in these other countries, their dads have connections, their moms have connections. Like Bitter Truth said, they will do something to you on camera, and ain't still nothing to see here. Call the Americans, tell them come pick her up. And Mr. Z is saying this not to scare you, but to give you a warning. Y'all playing with fire. Once again, not to scare you, but to warn you. You are playing with fire. Yeah, what about the men? The men are playing with the ones that's being loud. They playing with fire too. The difference is I'm telling you to be quiet, and even you being quiet, you still kind of playing with fire. At least the men that are quiet, the black men that are quiet, that go overseas, do what they do, move in silence, a little bit safer. But you just being a woman, you already lose points overseas. You want to talk about misogyny in America and patriarchy? All right. who I was talking to that was talking about DV overseas. Oh, I'm not gonna put the brother name out, but we have a brother in this space that's in China. Y'all don't say his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And he spoke about DV overseas, and he's witnessed that a couple times. And all the police do is, hey, don't do that here. The security, the police, don't do that here. That's what happens overseas. It's not, hey, what you doing? No, get away from her. And they go pummel that guy. No, they just tell the guy, hey, don't do that here. When I said it, I meant what I said. Yes, it's a double standard. Black women are gonna have to deal with black men in America. You don't got no choices. Mr. Z did the math. I didn't say that just to say it. I didn't say it as a threat. I didn't say it as one of those, yo, you're gonna have to kiss our rear end. No, Mr. Z did the math that Yanni's not doing. The math that all the women that don't want you to feel depressed and all, or that don't want you to feel defeated, the math they're not doing. Or they've done it, they just lied to you. You don't have no other choices. The white guys around the planet too damn racist. The Asian guys worship white women. And all the other men don't got no money. I did the math already. I know why I said what I said. The handful of African cats, okay, maybe. Maybe some black dudes in Europe, maybe some black dudes in Canada, but pretty much everywhere else, the men don't have the money to provide you for the lifestyle. You gotta be with a black American man. So let me do that for y'all again. Let me do the social math for y'all again. The white men around the planet are too damn racist in mass. The Asian guys are too damn anti-black in mass. That's for the ones that got some money. The Middle Eastern guys with some money, that's not even a conversation. That's not even a call. Y'all seen Janet with the Arab dude and Mariah, and y'all think that's a thing. It's not a thing. You better go ask somebody. It's not a thing. You want to talk anybody who thinks I'm lying, go talk to Black Mind, go talk to Sandog about the Middle East and how those men over there view black women. And then once again, everywhere else on the planet don't got enough money. Or are so anti-black, it's not even a point of bringing it up. I did the math. You don't got, and that is why Kim from Fort Harriet, at least she was being just a little bit honest with that. I may not have the options. Remember how she started the sentence? I may not have the options, but I have the option not to mess with you. But I may not have the options because she attended Harvard. She rubbed elbows with white people, upper middle class and rich white people. She knows. See, Kim won't tell you all the truth. She ain't gonna go all the way. She ain't gonna tell you everything, but she knows. And for those of you that, who's this Kim person? For Harriet, Kim Foster. She knows. She saw a handful of black women with white men at Harvard, but for the most part, she know they. For the most part, nope. And even with those black men, black women with white men, that might be just a college thing. She knows, especially on that level. Patriarch Turner says, Bedrin, don't discourage these sisters. Let them keep believing that they will be viewed as a goddess. That's what the young lady said in the video, right? That's what she said in the video with Sham. Maybe Raul and Jose can knock some sense into these broads. Quite literally, right? Quite literally. And that's sad. And it's unfortunate. You know, and that's sad and it's unfortunate. But you guys, I'm about to come to a close. You know, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Like I said, I might come back with a part 2 a little later, maybe within the next like you know, 45 minutes or something like that. Um, but yeah, I really want to get this out. I want to answer O'Shea Duke Jackson. I want to put this out there for any one of Yanni's subscribers, the one Yanni subscriber that I might have as a subscriber myself. I just wanted to say that y'all playing with fire. Y'all are playing with fire. I'm not saying that to even be paternalistic. Well, you know what? Screw that. Yeah, I am. You know what? Yeah, I am. Because as much issues as I may have with black women, I don't actually want to turn on the TV or do my little research because it's not going to be on news on TV. Do my little research and find out that you in some hole somewhere in Eastern Europe, in Poland, in wherever, the Czech Republic, somewhere, because you were messing around with the wrong guy and you said the wrong thing, or maybe you didn't even say the wrong thing. You were just a lick. Y'all were corresponding online. He flew you out, or you flew yourself out. Let's be honest. He did what he did with you, and he was done with you, and he knew he could get away with it, so he did. The last thing I want to do is start turning on my internet, right? Sound like an old person. You know, doing my Googles, and then I look up, and here you are. And then here go Real Talk with Yanni, sobbing again. You know, I just feel like maybe I had something to do with it. Let me say it already in advance. You probably did. Notice when Mr. Z don't say nothing about, I'm not anti-passport bros, but Mr. Z don't encourage no brother to do none of this type of stuff because I don't want to feel that guilt if something happens to you. In theory, I'm for SYSBM. In theory, I'm for passport bros, but I never encourage nobody to do any of this stuff for a reason. There's a reason why y'all see me don't encourage some of these movements. I'm not gonna feel that guilt if something happens to you. And I understand and Kim from For Hair was right about that. Most Americans don't have a passport. Most black people don't have a passport. Most black men don't have a passport. Most black men are in the spaces where they're going to meet their future baby mama, wife, girlfriend. They're already in the space where that's going to happen. And that's the same thing with black women. The difference is these other people, because they got that little gender conflict chip in them, they can't see past that. So when they're saying certain things and advocating for certain things, they don't really understand the negative ramifications or they don't care. Like I told y'all, Real Talk when Yanni got over 200,000 subscribers, she making bank off of YouTube. She's making bank off of YouTube. So the passport bros thing blew up over the past couple years on the internet, and we know it's been going on for a minute. Yes, Mr. Z saw the documentary with the brothers in Brazil years and years and years ago. Yeah, I know. But it's blown up over the past couple years, definitely over the past, few months. At least the conversation around it, and so now you have women thinking they're responding to it, saying, "Oh well, we've been doing this for a couple decades or a few decades, and it's nothing new," and blah blah blah. And ladies, I encourage you to go overseas and go to Europe. Once again, the white worship. It's a mixture of the white worship, and that's pretty much all you. It's not the only place, but the only place you could go where some dudes got some money. I noticed they don't talk about, unlike them, we don't talk about going to impoverished countries. Yeah, because black men can make that $60,000 stretch, that $70,000 stretch. You that earn 70 grand trying to look for a white any dude overseas that makes 70 grand. If you're not going to Europe, if you're not going to Canada, or maybe Japan, South Korea, China, you're out of luck. That once again, that doesn't mean that men in other countries don't have money. That means it starts to become a needle in a haystack when you start getting to the darker parts of the world. And by the way, that was done by design. Look how y'all try to escape white supremacy by walking into white supremacy. Fascinating. And thank you, Charles Irby. Charles Irby says black women been going to Europe. I saw a black woman in Spain in 2012. I surmised they were getting their backs broke by Spanish dudes. Bro, that's all it is. That's all it is. You want to talk about us in ex-tourism? What you doing? What are you doing overseas? Black men, that's why y'all going. We're going overseas for love. Stop. Why? Because the Italian dude whispers in your ears. You think that's love? Did he marry you? Uh-oh. Do you have a ring on your finger? Does he live in America now, or do you live in Italy now? Does he live in America now, or do you live in Spain now? Does he live in America now, or do you live in Portugal now? What happened? Does he live in America now, or do you live in Japan now? Do you live in South Korea now? Oh, what happened? Do you live in Greece now, or does he live in America now? Bitter truth. Bitter truth said that petroleum dollar is doing God's work. Hey, shout out to BGS. You don't understand. When you go overseas with your 70 grand a year, ladies, you're the provider now. You are the provider now. Men overseas don't make no goddamn 70 grand a year, even in Europe. I think I remember watching something or reading a study. Americans we're like top 5% wealth on planet Earth, something like that. So for all the ladies that's earning some 70, 75, 80 grand a year, now you want to go overseas and find a comparable husband, have fun. When I told y'all don't got no choice but black American men, you thought I was joking. Like I keep on saying, Mr. Z did the math. Half, even in Europe, they not are making that type of money. And the guys that are, you'll be hard pressed to find a British dude earning 80 pounds a year, 80,000 pounds a year that's into black women. The OG colonizers? You think the OG colonizers are into black women? All right. Right. So I'll just, I'll pause right there. I'll come back to you guys in a little bit, but I think it needed to be said. I know O'Shea and Real Talk with Yanni, if they ever come up on, I'm not gonna listen to the whole thing, but it needed to be said, right? And Yanni, you playing with fire by encouraging these non-black women or non-American women to talk crap about black men. If they say it about black men, I don't care how much they tell you different, they think it about black women too. Playing with fire here. All right, y'all. I'm gonna pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'm not even gonna tell y'all to go check out other Black Manosphere content right now because I don't think anybody else is up. So, but if anything, go check out other Black Manosphere content and non-Manosphere content. So y'all don't sound like Real Talk with Yanni and her really very delusional subscribers, right? They're just beyond delusional. So I will truly pause right here, and I should be coming back in the next few minutes. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.